Hi, government people. This is Mrs. Hubert. For each of the modules, I'm just going to give you a little quick tour so that you can have a framework for what we're doing and why and what is coming up and what's due. So I'm going to share screen and take you through this really short intro module and get you going. All righty. So when you log into Canvas, first of all, you'll see our orientation module is actually closed. I mean, well, it's open, but you should be done with all of that work. So good job for those of you that are getting it in on time. If you miss by a day, don't be too hard on yourself, but do watch those due dates and make sure that going forward that you really stay up to date. So our first module is a very basic introduction. It's a little bit philosophical on the first level because we are going to be talking about power, which is a very important topic in government. And for those of you on your discussion board that said, like, when I think about government, if you have a negative feeling about it, some of that comes from powerlessness and feeling that you don't have power, don't have a say. And so I think it's just kind of an interesting topic to think about. Also, this point in your life, one of the things that I think is weird about high school is like, you guys are old enough that you're doing a lot of adult things, but you truly lack power in your life in a lot of instances. And I don't think that we remember that enough as adults. Like that can be very frustrating when you're in that limbo zone. But anyway, so here's your orientation one. So intro to government is short and sweet. So one is netiquette. This could have been an orientation, but this is just some general rules and tips for working online and how to not make this mistakes, kind of like do and don't, very basic. And in that, I address AI and Chat GPT, which I'm going to say is a useful tool in an online class. However, not a useful tool for actually assessing what you actually know. And you will get so much bad stuff. And I'll know that because your AI stuff will come up and I'll have stuff that's like not even related to the information I put out. So let's just steer clear of that. I promise you it's none of the work is that hard that you need to go to AI. Okay. And then you'll notice that for your textbook reading and reflection, when you click on that assignment, for all of these, what should be happening for you is you should have like, hey, here's where you're going to click. And so you will have to pay attention to headings in your textbook because the page numbers, like weirdly, don't show up in the same way. So look for chapter 1. You're going to do sections 1 and 2. So 1 is about power and 2 is about types of government. And I have a Google Doc here. You see the grading rubric there. And it's just really like I want you to read to the level that you need to and reflect on some of these key topics about just the culture around our government, our American angst and distrust for government, and those topics that I talked about, like legitimacy and power. And this is a brief capture here. Oops. Going down for types of government, just understanding the basics of like, hey, we do have different types of government around the world. We just want to make sure that we can use those words correctly. So once you edit, read, and type in that document, if you can figure out how to do a side-by-side screen on your Chromebook, that might be a good way to do that. Go ahead and hit submit. I am looking for evidence that you've actually read the book. So if you Google the information, it's not that it's wrong. It's just, it's not going to have quite the same emphasis. So I want to see that you're actually reading and interacting with the textbook. And then I do want to see thought and evidence of thought. And so I would say just be thorough, but do not feel like you have to fudge the length of it, like go on and on and on just to get a good grade. That's not necessary either. Can't wait to read your work.